Welcome in, everybody, to TB Sports 27, and we got an exciting episode here of what's going to be a pretty interesting streaming session that we're going to do. As you see what we got on the screen, we are going to do the NCAA Bowl Selection Show, and we are also going to do Kevin Owens changes to Universe mode in WWE in this session. So I don't know if we're going to get any gameplay done. I don't think we are. It's mainly going to be this kind of stuff, but this will get us set up for what we're going to be going to do in the future here. So this is the NCAA Bowl Selection Show. You're looking at my screen right now. The really cool tool from the makers of College Football Revamped. So go check them out. A lot of love for them. I can't make this fold screen, so you get a little bit of the outside of my computer screen here. And I guess I could crop it in OBS, I suppose, if I were to do that. But I am going to be going back and forth between the game and the tool here, so I didn't want to crop it and mess it up or any of that. We got WX Man. There's no full screen. I would love to. There is no full screen to be had here. So we are going to do the Bowl Selection Show, and I'm glad folks are here because they are going to be able to let us know who they think should be the last college football team in the nation here. So we're going to jump into our folder. And we're going to... Team Swap doesn't work, unfortunately, for the Xbox 360. I did test that out a little bit. No Kansas Jayhawks. I did test that out a little bit, and it crashes the game if you replace the FBS teams or the FCS teams with the teams they have in here. It was kind of cool because it does replace the names. It replaces the colors and all that stuff. No logos, of course. But if you try to play a game with one of them in it, it crashes the game. So I didn't know if it'd be worth it to try to swap some of the teams in and have the risk of the game crashing if we just don't schedule one of those teams. But for right now, if you try to do the team swapper and you're playing on Xbox 360, it does crash the game. So be aware of that if you're using this tool, because this is kind of a newer updated tool with that. Let me do one quick check here, get a little behind the scenes. Let's make sure the chat is above. Boom, so you guys can see the chat on screen. Move that up, get the behind the scenes look. All right. So now we are going to look at, let's do the top 25 editor first. So we're going to open up our file right here. And there you can see the top 25 as chosen by the game here. So the big debate is going to be over this team, the Bobcats, who are 12-0. They're in Conference USA. They are not in a power conference. And the debate between your power conference champions, who are obviously no debate over the Utah Utes, 13-0, undefeated, #1. Ohio State, they're the best of the other power conferences with only one loss. But then you get into the SEC champion Tennessee, the ACC champion Miami, the Pac-16 champion Stanford, and then you come all the way down here to the Big East champion in USF at 11-2. They all want to get into the college football playoff. Right now, the committee has Tennessee ranked number 4 at 11-2. Same record as all the other power conference champions. The debate is, you got Texas State, who is undefeated. And previously, you saw the committee put Miami, Ohio into the playoff at 12-0. They've kind of made a point to say, if you're not in a power conference, but you go undefeated, you will be in the college football playoff. Should Texas State be out of it, and should it be Ohio State, Tennessee, Miami? That's got the big name, that's the big city and everything like that. Should they be in, and who's the team that gets kicked out? So let's look at Texas State. There's no debate, Ohio State, Utah, they got the top 2 records, but it comes down to schedule of Texas State, Tennessee, Miami, Stanford. You can also look at USF as well, but I think if you would look at what they did, their schedule kind of eliminates them being in the college football playoff, but I would imagine they're going to get a New Year's Six Bowl, of course, being the Big East champion. So we are going to bring up the game, scroll on down, and well, we just turned this one off. There you go. There's the game. All right. So now you got the game in full, and we're going to look at the schedules and see if we want to make any modifications or changes to the top four. So right now, your top four, your college football playoff, is Utah, Tennessee, and Texas State and Ohio State. Here's the debate. Here we go. You're looking at Tennessee's schedule right now. They have a loss to Cincinnati early on in the season with the loss, and 7-5 Cincinnati, they took the loss, and they also took an early loss to a ranked Florida team. Now, Florida is still ranked. They're at 8-4. Since then, they have run the table, including victories over a 7th-ranked 10-win Auburn team and an 8th-ranked Arkansas team in the SEC championship. So I think the committee's looking at those 2 wins right there as 2 wins against teams in with 10 wins. You look at Miami and their losses. Overtime loss to Louisville, not a bad loss. That's a close loss. And then a close loss to Clemson. But you look at Miami's schedule, no victories over 10 or 11 win teams. Now, right now, Stanford, that would be a bowl game if that one holds out. But there is no wins for Miami over a 10 or 11 win teams. Tennessee's got 2 of those, which it looks like that kind of gives Tennessee the nod because both Miami and Tennessee have really close losses. Tennessee's losses were both very close. Miami's losses were both very close. Miami lost to an 8-win team and a 7-win team, and same thing, a 7-win team and an 8-win team. So it's kind of even there. The thing that's not even is Tennessee's victories over a couple of 10-win teams. Now, can you fault Miami? They're playing a conference schedule. Tennessee's also playing a conference schedule. It comes in the debate, where do you fault one team because that's the schedule they had to play, right? So right now, that's why the committee has them. But that's where you get into the talks of Texas State. Should Texas State even be in the top 4? Should they move down and it be Tennessee, Miami? They got 2 losses. Do you take an undefeated team out for a 2-loss power conference team? I think if Tennessee and Miami both had 1 loss, then maybe they get in. But you're looking at teams with 2 losses is the difference. We haven't really seen a 2-loss team in this college football world other than that LSU team that had 2 losses that would go on to win a national championship. So I think that's the big difference there. Texas State, you're not looking at anything too crazy impressive on their schedule. Of course, they got the overtime win over a 10-win SMU, which is more 10-win victories that they got on their schedule than Miami does. So they got at least one of them there in the mix. So that is something to be aware of in that regard. Other than that, no wins over winning teams on this whole schedule. Now, you got some 6-6 wins on the Texas State schedule, but to compare that here with Tennessee, wins over winning teams, they got 1, 2, 3, 4 wins, and Miami comes in with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins over teams with winning records. So what do you guys think? We got WX Man, we got Dan the Man. What do you guys think? Is Texas State deserving? Should they be in, or should it be Miami? Do you knock out an undefeated team for a 2-loss team? Right now, we just have the 4-team playoff. There is the option to do 8 or 12. Dan says, Dan the Legend, says he loves Texas State. Real quick, while we're at the top here, we want to give a little shout-out for our Patreon supporters. Dan, thank you for signing up. We got a couple new Patreon members. Dan is one of our newest subscribers and also one of our newest Patreons. So thank you so much for signing up for that, Dan. And if you guys want to help support the channel like Dan, you guys can sign up at any level that you like, become a Clubhouse member on Patreon. We also have Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter. We are live right now on Twitch, and then this will be uploaded to YouTube in mid-March. So follow along with us, but the entire stream goes up early and ad-free on our Patreon page. So check out all those different areas where you can help support TB Sports 27. So Dan, he's like in Texas State. WX Man, one of the Jayhawks. And then we look at Stanford, who is your Pac-16 champion. And for them, I think what eliminates them from the conversation is this blowout loss to Auburn, where you see that Tennessee defeated Auburn in a almost the opposite score. So that's kind of your difference right there, is you have Auburn that was blown out by Tennessee, and you have Stanford blown out by Auburn. In comparison's sake, that should all but, and you see, they got the 10-win victory right here, but that's what kind of eliminates Stanford from the mix, is you do have a common opponent in Auburn, and Auburn blew out Stanford, where Auburn was blown out by Tennessee. So that kind of leaves the debate Tennessee, Miami. And then if we wanted to look at USF, who was the Big East champion, their losses, a pretty bad loss right here to Old Dominion in blowout fashion, and then getting blown out by West Virginia on that one. Not a blowout, but a pretty tightly contested contest, but a decent win there for West Virginia. And then nothing else on the schedule super impressive other than the Big East championship victory here over Army. So I think that kind of eliminates USF from the equations, that Old Dominion blowout there, because the comparison's really between Miami and Tennessee, with their losses being very, very close losses, and whether or not undefeated. So here's where I think we settle it, and we'll still open it up and let people jump in, but I'm leaning towards keeping it how it is with this schedule, and my reasoning being, if Tennessee, Miami both had one loss, then maybe that would open up the conversation of Ohio State, Tennessee. Obviously, that'd be a much bigger college football playoff. Utah versus Miami, the Battle of the U Part 2, and Tennessee versus Ohio State. But I think the difference is you're taking an undefeated team out, albeit they don't have the most impressive schedule, and they are from a mid-major conference. The big difference is they are undefeated, where Tennessee and Miami both have 2 losses. If they had 1 loss, then I think there's a little bit of a debate where you can put a 1-loss team, but I don't know how you can say a team that lost 2 games gets in over an undefeated team, no matter their schedule. Obviously, we can see the big difference in prestige all the way across. Texas State only an 83 overall, so it will be an uphill battle for them. But for me, I'm going with what Dan is saying and going with that. And I think you got to go undefeated over 2 losses, and that would be the second time that the committee, which is us, would put in a undefeated team from a mid-major over teams that have 2 losses, because the year that Miami, Ohio was put in, like, everybody had 2 losses that year. So that's kind of why they were the number 1 team as the only unbeaten. So the committee kind of making that precedent that if you're undefeated, you're going to get in, unless there's like 5 undefeated teams. Maybe that would be the big difference. So we'll keep Texas State because they are undefeated. They have earned that right by being undefeated and by there not being any 1-loss teams. And then I think what it comes down to between Tennessee and Miami is, I think what helps Tennessee is they got their losses out of the way early on, and the fact that one of their losses is to a ranked team. They also beat ranked teams in Auburn in dominant fashion, in Arkansas in somewhat impressive fashion with the 10-point win right there, while Miami has a late loss there to Clemson, albeit the same record as Florida, but not ranked. You got to talk to the committee about that. And then they got some, down the stretch here, an overtime win against Virginia Tech, but an overtime win where they almost got beat, a tight contest against Troy, and there's a loss there, tight game with Notre Dame. So I think ultimately that's what keeps Tennessee at number 4 for me, is the fact that they got both their losses out of the way early. They're on like a 9-game winning streak, while Miami's only coming off of a 4-game winning streak, and the fact that 2 of the wins for Tennessee or over 10-win teams. None of those of the sort here for Miami. So we are going to put an end to that, and we're going to go back to the bowl selection show here and make it official. If anybody wants to jump in the debate and make any more effort to say that, you know, one team should be in over another, the chat will still be open. I'm keeping an eye on it. Let me know. But for right now, we're going to keep it as is. But let me know in the comments down below. Debate it up. Who do you guys think should have been the top 4? But Dan chimed in. He liked Texas State. And Texas State undefeated with just 2 lost teams looking at them versus 1 lost teams. I think that is the big difference right there. So now we are going to go back here. We're going to go back. Let's minimize OBS. And we're going to go back. So we're going to keep all this as is. I think one change we do make is we can modify the top 25 here is Arkansas being... Now, let's see. I'm going to look here on the screen. Let's see. What did Arkansas do? Did Arkansas even play Auburn? Arkansas did not play Auburn this year. I'm going to move Arkansas. I don't even know if it matters, but they're a runner-up conference champion, so I don't think they should be ranked below Auburn. That's fine. Auburn could be there. Wisconsin. I'm going to put USF. I'm going to move them up because they are a conference champion over Wisconsin, who lost to Ohio State. So you got all your conference champs right here from the Big 12, Conference USA, Big 10, SEC, ACC, Pac-16, the SEC runner-up. Another SEC powerhouse right there, and then you got the Big East champ, the Big 10 runner-up. This is where we'll make another change. I'm going to move SMU up above Florida State. I'm also going to move Nebraska up and Indiana. Florida State at 8-4. So we'll put them right there. I think that's solid for SMU. I think maybe we find a good bowl. We'll see. Maybe we can find a good, solid bowl game for SMU. Iowa, Fresno State at 10-2 almost needs a little bit more love. So we are going to bump them all the way up. I think just right there below them. And USC as well. Boop. Going to move them up. Because this is our rankings. We can do whatever we want. Army, they're kind of feeling the disrespect a little bit, but do we put Army up there as well? They lost. They went down 4 spots with their loss, so maybe let's keep them there. Let's keep them there. I think Boston College at 7-5 up there is really wild. Florida's fine. SEC. Let's see if we look over here. Clemson. So Washington, we got to get Washington some respect. All season, Washington has been disrespected. The fact they're not even in the top 25 is crazy. We'll put... So they were 4 spots, so they were like around here. Let's put them... Oh, did that not work? How do we... Oh, I got to move them... How do I get Washington... I don't know how to get Washington in here. How do I get a team... Wasn't just a... Is it not possible? Or do I have to, like, drag Syracuse over and replace them? I don't remember what I did last time. This is a new 2.1. I cannot figure out. Somebody, if anyone knows how this tool works, I wanted to put Washington in the top 25. I'm not finding... I'm not finding a way to be able to do that. Maybe that's a glitch. This is, like I said, this is a new tool. This is version 2.1 or what have you. Unless I'm just not doing it right. Doing it right. I don't think there's a way to add a team to the top 25. And I feel like there used to be before. Okay, well, we'll keep them at 26 then. So I guess I can't make that change. But let me know if there's something I'm just not doing right or anything like that. So you can scroll this separately. And you can scroll this all together. So if I want to go down here, so there's no way to keep this at the bottom and have Washington at the top. Huh. Yeah, don't think you can do it. Okay, let me know in the comments if there is a way, but that may be an interesting little glitch in the system. So let's see. Let's look at all our conference champ. We got, what, 10 conferences? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the rest would be your mid-major conferences, because all the main ones, the main 6 are right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My phone's going crazy. 6. Yeah. And then the other ones would be the lower level, the mid-major conferences there. Okay. So, can't add Washington. Got to keep an eye on them and give them a nice little bowl game. 8-4. Yeah, see, the fact that Boston College is at 7-5 and in the top 25. Wait, Clemson was, right? It's like these two this is driving me crazy. Yeah, there's not guess there's not a way to do it. Okay. So, I don't know how much these really matter, but 8-4, 8-4, 7-5. Couple of 9-win squads. Florida, you know, they're always gonna love an SEC team, have them up there. Army, a couple of 8-4 teams maybe shouldn't be that high. Tell you what, we'll put West Virginia and Army. So then you got 10-win, 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 9-9-9. Army looking for some respect at 10-3, and then your 8-win teams. Virginia Tech, they lost the ACC championship. They plummet. Cal down there. Okay. And then on your other side here, Washington fighting for respect. Minnesota, Clemson, your other 8-win teams. I don't think we'll mess with the rest of that too much. So we will save that one. Very interesting that we can't take full control, all 3 polls, re-rank every single team 1 through 26. I want to try this one more time just to make sure I'm not losing it. Like, is there something I'm doing wrong? Because you can move these easily. But I can't. There's like no, yeah, there's not a way to do it. I think there's a way to do it. Okay, so we're going to back out. We're going to go back. If anyone knows, let me know in the comments how to do it. But I don't think, I don't know. I don't think there's a way to do it. So now we're going to make the college football playoff, and we are going to do the bowl selection. So this would be a perfect season to do the 8-team or the 12-team with Miami and all that fun stuff. But we are going to keep it at the 4-team for right now. I think we just wait till the new game comes out to do the 12 game, like in real life, and just keep doing the 4-game playoff for a while. So it's going to be the same here. Utah, Tennessee, Texas State, and Ohio State. So the Rose Bowl game, this is the 4th year that we're doing this, so it circles back around to Rose and Sugar. Last year was Orange Bowl Peach, and then Fiesta Cotton. So Rose Bowl, of course, Utah, Tennessee, Utah being the number 1 seed. They get to go to the Rose Bowl, and then Texas State and Ohio State going to the Sugar Bowl. So we are going to lock that one in. And now we can make our bowl matchups here. And this is where it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see how much time that this takes. It took a long time last time. I think a lot of the bowls I'm fine with, but there are a couple changes we do want to make. So kicking things off, I don't know if we'll go bowl by bowl, but New Mexico Bowl, I think that's fine. Purdue and Boise State, nothing wrong with that. We got to find the 2 teams that we're going to kick out, though. We have to find our 2, right? Don't we have to kick out 2 teams or 2 placeholder teams, or did they change that? Is that not a thing anymore? Maybe that's not a thing anymore. That used to be a thing. You had to make 2 placeholder teams. You had to kick 2 teams out. Maybe that's something they changed and edited. That'd be very, very interesting because I'm not seeing an option where you kick somebody out. We'll see. Idaho Potato Bowl, I think also Western Michigan and Boston College. That's a fine matchup. I'm cool with this one too. In Arizona, you got the Lobos and the Ducks, 9-3 and 8-4. That's pretty close. Gasparilla, Nevada, and Pitt. Not really Tampa-esque. I wonder if this is where we make a change. Let's switch out Nevada because we got to get a team. We got to get a local team in there, right? So we will put, where are they at? We'll put UCF against Pitt. What a weird record, 6-5. And that's going to move Nevada over here. But that's not a good matchup for the Ragin' Cajuns. So let's switch out Louisiana Lafayette, perfect for the New Orleans Bowl. I always like to give, let's give them an interesting, at least what I think is an interesting game. We'll switch out Nevada, and we are going to put in, I'm so bad at finding the logos. It's at an alphabetical order. We're going to put in Penn State. So it's going to be Penn State and Louisiana Lafayette. Now let me look at real quick. I'm looking at the game here. I think the conference champions are the Ragin' Cajuns of the Sun Belt. And yes, that's Luna, the TB Sports mascot. In the Sun Belt, yes, Louisiana Lafayette. So conference champion, they deserve a chance to play a big team. So they get Penn State. That's pretty good. Let's look at the other conference champions that we got. Mountain West is Utah State and New Mexico, the split. Hello, Luna. And then we have Kent State as the MAC champion there. So, and of course, Conference USA, Texas State in the big dance. SMU will try to give them something. And yeah, so we'll have to look out for that. So, conference champion, the Ragin' Cajuns. We got SK Money. You're just in time. We're putting all the bowl games together. So, we're going to put the Sun Belt champs, the Ragin' Cajuns, in their backyard in New Orleans against a team from the Big Ten in Penn State. Or are they in the Big Ten? I thought I moved into the Big East. They're in one of the power conferences here. Luna, please don't click on all this stuff. You're killing me right now. Oh, the TB Sports mascot is just walking on everything. Okay. So, Penn State and this is my favorite part. Just do it. No, WWE is coming up next, so you still got plenty of time. But I love doing this bowl selection. I don't think they'll give it to us in the new game, but this might just keep me playing the old games, the fact that they made this editor here. We talked about the Utah State splitting the conference championship in the Mountain West, so them going up against a 9-win Cal team, I think is a very solid opponent for them. And again, the other split champion in New Mexico getting the win, or getting the matchup with Oregon was pretty good. We just started the bowl games. You missed the big debate over the college football playoff, though. I will say that, so you maybe check that back on the replay. The big debate over the top four, over Texas State, Tennessee, Miami, who would be in or not. So, but WX Man was here, the WX, and he put his two cents in. Hawaii Bowl, you got 8-4, and Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern is in this game. Let's switch them out. Hawaii Bowl. Where can we find a good, solid opponent here for them? So we got conference champion for the Mountain, or not conference champion, but an 8-4 team in the Mountain West. We can do Army. Oh, here's a one right here. What about West Virginia? So let's switch out. Switch out Georgia Southern with West Virginia. So you got 9-3 and 8-4 out in the Hawaii Bowl. So a long trip for West Virginia, but you know they get to go to Hawaii. You got Cal, Utah State, pretty close to Vegas. And of course, like I said, we put UCF here in their backyard. Gasparilla Bowl, or I think the Beef O'Brady's Bowl in this game. So far, those are all looking pretty solid. Quick Lane Bowl, you got Temple and Philly. It's pretty close to Detroit. And you got Nevada, kind of a long trip for Nevada, but 6-6 squads. What do you want? Military Bowl, Miami, Ohio. They were a college football playoff team not too long ago, so I think that's fine right there. Holiday Bowl, we got to make a big change. So this is the team fighting for respect, 10-3. Who do we put them up against? We got Army at also 10-3. We got Fresno, but that's going to be the same conference. We got USC, also the same conference. Why don't we put Army in there in the Holiday Bowl? I think that's a good 10-win matchup out in California. So you got 10-3. They don't show the rankings, I will say, on this new. That is kind of hard. We got Moose Mania. Yes, we got Moose joining us here. So we got a packed house in the chat today. This is tough that this does not show us the old. And if anyone has any contact or reach out to the college football revamp folks, I love what they do and I love this tool. The top 25 might be broken for me, and the fact that you can't see the rankings, because that used to be a really big determiner of what bowl and what teams I would put up against each other, because you could see the rankings. You can't see the rankings anymore on the 2.1 tool, so I'm just matching based on records right now, so that does make it a little harder. But Washington and Army, two teams that want respect when it comes to the college football playoff, they got a battle there. Duke's Mayo Bowl, Louisville and BYU. That's Kentucky. Let's try to get a team a little more local to the Carolinas area. Do we have a Carolinas team we can match up there? We got Notre Dame, we got Iowa. Nothing. Oh, we got, hold on, here we go. Here's one switch we're going to make. Boom. East Carolina and Louisville, they're not in the same conference, right? I didn't move East Carolina to the ACC or anything. Or maybe I did. No, they are not. Where do I have East Carolina? I don't even know. Are they in Conference USA? Or are they They might be a Big East team. Yes, Big East. Okay, so Big East and Louisville in the ACC. Perfect. So get the Carolinas, local battle right there. A couple of 7-5 squads going at it in that one. Independence Bowl, I think that one's fine. How about the battle of the Wolf Pack and the Red Wolves? The Wolf battle going down to the Independence Bowl in Louisiana. That's a fine matchup right there. This is the Pop-Tarts Bowl, of course, the Capital One Bowl in our game. Georgia Tech, Syracuse, couple of 8-4 teams. I am also fine with that matchup there. Texas Bowl, I wouldn't say they're local, of course, Oklahoma, Texas and Oklahoma, but you got a, state close team, and then you got Cincinnati. I am fine with that matchup as well. Armed Forces Bowl, you got Tulsa, which is also Oklahoma and Texas. Georgia, also just not that far away from Texas. I am fine with that 6-6 matchup. Out in Los Angeles, I don't know what bowl game. I think this is the Fight Hunger Bowl, maybe. So you got two teams from the same conference here, so we do have to switch this one up. Let's see, who can we switch? I think we keep Washington because it is Los Angeles in that one. You see, obviously the game doesn't care, but you see how my mind works, and I'm trying to make it realistic that obviously it wouldn't matter if I put 2 teams from Florida in the the LA Bowl. Nobody would care, but in my head, I got to have it, just set just perfectly for that occasion. So is there another 6-6 team that we can shove in there? Not that's kind of from that coast, unless we want to go. Where do we have? Is that a Mountain West that we have BYU? Where do we have BYU? Or do we have them in the Pac-12? No. See, I forget where I put all my teams. Oh, maybe they're in the Big 12, right? Didn't we play them? BYU is in the Big 12. Okay, so we'll make that switch. We are going to switch out Colorado, and we are going to put in BYU. So Utah, and you got Washington converging in California for the Los Angeles Bowl. Alamo Bowl, Oklahoma, which of course close to Texas, and Fresno. But Fresno, they want a stronger opponent, right? And I'm looking at another local kind of team here. More local than Oklahoma. Now, it's not a big conference team. Obviously, Oklahoma would be big business. But how about 10-2 SMU going to the Alamo Bowl to take on a Pac-16 squad, 10-2 Fresno State. Now, maybe they were hoping for one of those New Year's Six bowls. We can still look at maybe put them in one of the New Year's Six bowls, but I think that's a top-tier matchup, SMU and Fresno State, couple of 10-win teams. So we're about halfway, so let's just go back real quick and make sure we're not missing any major ones, going little by little. Some of these matchups, I don't know if you'd want me to just like simulate it and you guys just kind of watch and see. Let me know in the comments if there's any of these games you'd like to just see simulated that you would like to check out. But I think these are all pretty evenly matched. Got a couple of 10-win squads. We're just missing the rankings. We need the rankings on this thing. Okay, so I think those are all pretty solid. Guaranteed Rate Bowl, that is the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl in this game out in Arizona. You got Texas and Northwestern. I'm fine with that one as well. And that's a Big 10, Big 12 matchup. Not too bad. You have Music City. You have Mississippi State and Georgia State. Now, Georgia State in the ACC in this world, so this is an ACC-SEC matchup, Music City Bowl, and also very close to Tennessee. I am good with that one. The Sun Bowl, you have Clemson and USC. So let's look and see if there's any other 10-win. I mean, we're putting all these 10-win teams in other bowls. We got to maybe look at the New Year's Six and possibly circle back around. In fact, I think USC might need to get one of these bigger bowl games. Let me look at the Pac-12 here really quick. Stanford, Fresno, Washington, USC. Let's look at USC. They lost to Fresno, and they lost to UCLA. So maybe Fresno needs to be in a New Year's Six. Fresno lost to EMU. Eastern Michigan? Oh my God, a 2-10 Eastern Michigan. And then they lost to Stanford. I'm debating if I want to switch USC to the Alamo Bowl here and then put Fresno in one of the New Year's Six bowls. Let's look at the New Year's Six real quick. I think Florida State's definitely got to go. Maybe that's where we make one of our changes. So Stanford is definitely going to be in. Let's look at the 10-win teams real quick. Washington 10-3. So that kind of eliminates some of the 3-loss teams, the 10-win 10-3 loss teams right there. Fresno, I think, is in the conversation. They have the bad loss to a 2-10 Eastern Michigan team. But they did beat USC, so that gives them the head-to-head over USC. USC lost also to UCLA. So maybe we make a change here. Maybe we put USC in this bowl game instead against SMU. Kind of like they got to go against Tulane in real life. This is our Tulane game. And then we can put... What if we do Alabama and Clemson? Why don't we put Alabama in the Sun Bowl here? Alabama, Clemson. We've seen that battle in real life, but they can go at it in the Sun Bowl. So there you go. Alabama, Clemson, going to Texas, Sun Bowl, battle. Yeah. Liberty Bowl, you got Memphis, local team. You got Oklahoma. Maybe Oklahoma wants a little bit of a stronger opponent here. Looking at what all our options here. I think... Let's do Oklahoma and Ole Miss in this game. Boom. The Oklahoma Ole Miss, so you got SEC Big 12. That's a solid Liberty Bowl matchup. And then, okay, let's start looking at our New Year's 6. Maybe that's who we should have done first, is the New Year's 6 bowl games here. But let's look at this, and then we'll be almost done. And then we'll be off to WWE 2K time. So we got the Peach Bowl here. So Fresno, we are going to put them in a New Year's 6. We got Fresno, Miami, Stanford, USF. Florida State's got to go. I think Arkansas and Auburn should be in that conversation as well. They obviously shouldn't be playing each other in this one. Let's do... I think that's a good matchup here in the Orange Bowl. So, that actually, if you do... You can see the top 25 here. Kind of. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You get like half of it. Well, you don't get the top 4. Okay, well, that makes sense. So I guess that is one way that you could see the top 25, but it is like an extra screen that you do have to go into and look at. So if we're looking at New Year's 6 opponents, top 12, like Fresno, we did have them over USC, so that's fine. And then I think we had SMU and USC. Wisconsin, maybe we got to have them in the mix. So, okay, good. So Orange Bowl in Miami, I think you get the Big East champs and the SEC runners-up in Arkansas and USF. That's a solid matchup there. And then we have the Fiesta Bowl and Stanford, Miami. Do we put them Fiesta Bowl or do we put them in the Peach Bowl? Or what's the other one that we have available to us, the Cotton Bowl? I think it goes between Fiesta and Peach, and it's a matter if we want to have Miami going to Atlanta or whether we stay kind of West Coast and we do Miami. Let's keep it Fiesta Bowl. Let's keep Miami, Stanford, and this will be an interesting one because these were the two teams that were on the verge of getting in over Tennessee. So I think you could have had the argument, you could have maybe done Miami against somebody, Stanford against somebody, and had two teams on the other end looking at it where they're like, hey, we both, but now you're guaranteed to have one of those teams that's going to have that argument that they should have been in the college football playoffs. So Arkansas, USF, you got Stanford and Miami. And then in the Peach Bowl, do we have Wisconsin? So Wisconsin, I didn't even see them anywhere. Did they not even have a bowl bid anywhere? That's kind of crazy. I'm glad I looked at the top 25. So what happens if I pick Wisconsin? Does Virginia Tech get dropped off here? Let's move for right now. Let's put Virginia Tech here because I just want to test something. And then if we were to put Wisconsin... Yeah, I don't even see... How were they not even in? Let me look at the bowl projections on my game right here. What one was Wisconsin even in previous to this? They were in the Rose Bowl, which I guess that's what we modified right there for our college football playoff. Who is the Sugar Bowl? Is the game Ohio State, Tennessee, which we have in there? Interesting. I need to let me pull up the top 25 on my game so that we're making sure we're not missing any teams here. Utah, Miami, Stanford, Arkansas, Auburn, SMU. We got SMU having a solid matchup with USC. So Peach Bowl, Wisconsin. I think that might be more of a Now that I'm looking at it, you can see the way my brain works a little bit. I think we got to put Auburn. Let's do Auburn and Fresno in the Peach Bowl. So we'll put, where are they at? Right there. So we'll put Auburn, Fresno, and then we will move Wisconsin into the Cotton Bowl. Where are they at? Where's Wisconsin? Boom. For now. Nebraska. Okay. So let's look. We got Miami in there. We got Stanford. We have Arkansas. We have Auburn. We have Wisconsin. We have USF. We have Fresno. Let's look at our top 25 again. SMU, Fresno. So SMU and USC are the ones we took out. We also have Nebraska. What record is Nebraska? 9-3. So we'd have a 3-loss team. So we don't have... I don't know if we have enough room for everyone. Because we need 12 teams, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, we got, I guess, 12 minus 4. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. So we would need 8 because you have the 4 teams in the college football playoff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So, we have SMU and USC. So if we put them against each other and put that in a New Year's 6 bowl, which that could be the Cotton Bowl right there, actually. Fresno might have to be the last man out. Or, well, Fresno got the win, so maybe we do Fresno SMU instead. Because Fresno got the win over USC. Yeah, Fresno's got the head-to-head win over USC. So if we're going if we're going strictly top 12, then I think we make a little modification here. So I think... So do we do... Maybe we switch Nebraska here. SMU. Boom. So USC, since they got beat, they're kind of on the outside looking in. But that's still a good matchup. That's still a really solid matchup going against Nebraska in the Alamo Bowl. Like, that's nothing. They're a top tier Big 12 team in that regard. And Nebraska, somewhat kind of in that neighborhood of Texas, close to Texas, if you will. So that's okay. I think that's looking good there. So we have Auburn and Fresno in the Peach Bowl. Now, the only debate would be if we would want to switch these to get Fresno a little closer to Texas. But I think this is good. So the Peach Bowl, you got Auburn and Fresno, college football playoff runner-up, nearly into the SEC championship game. Fresno State was there last year. And then you have ACC champion and Pac-16 champion going at it in the Fiesta Bowl. Orange Bowl, you have the Big East champ and the SEC runners-up. That's a good matchup there. And then the Cotton Bowl, you have the, SMU still getting a New Year's Six nod, even though they weren't Conference USA champions. They finished 10-2, but they're going to get the runners-up in the Big Ten. So I think that's a good matchup to see what they're made of. And then we don't really have any other 10-win teams on the outside other than USC. You got, of course, Army and Washington, but the committee didn't really have them very highly ranked at all. So I think SMU getting that nod to get a shot at Wisconsin, that works for me. Let's one more time look at the top 25 just to make sure. We got all our conference champions represented. We got the runners-up, Arkansas, Auburn. Let me look at the smaller conferences. Then we'll do these last couple games, and then we will be all set and all squared away. And then it will be WWE time. So Clemson. Do we have Georgia Tech in here? We do. Okay, Georgia. I'm making sure these other teams are actually like on the list. These 7-5 teams. I don't see Louisville anywhere. See, it's interesting because they got like there's some. Oh yeah, there's Louisville. Okay, so we have the team. I was making sure there's like teams that had 7 losses or so that didn't make the cut or anything. But Conference USA, you got SMU, Texas State, both represented. SMU's going to get a shot. And then the MAC champion was Kent State. We got them down below. I actually might keep them with Virginia Tech. That would be interesting to have them, the MAC champ, go up against the runners-up from the ACC. Mountain West, you got Utah State and New Mexico in some solid matchups. You got New Mexico where they at taking on Oregon, and you have Utah State going up against Cal in that. And then in the Sun Belt, you got Lafayette taking on Penn State. So we'll do these last couple of matchups here that we got. The First Responders Bowl, Notre Dame, Michigan State, fine by me in that one. The Tax Slayer Bowl. Now, this is an SEC team, Southern Miss. We're going to change the conferences around after the season to kind of reflect what's happening in real life. But Jacksonville, Southern Miss, Iowa, that also is fine by me. Citrus Bowl, this is one we need to switch around, but we're running out of teams. Why don't we do... It's happened before in real life. This would be the Capital One Bowl, of course. Even though they just played each other. We're going to do Florida State in the Citrus Bowl. Let them go at it. Play each other again. They did it in real life in the 90s. They played each other, and then they had the Sugar Bowl game against each other. Florida State. Why not? Rivalry. These are like your New Year's Day bowl games as well. Southern Miss, Iowa. And then the ReliQuest Bowl. That is the Outback Bowl. But this is where we're kind of running out. Unless there's another team we want to replace for Memphis that didn't make it in. Is there like another team? Let's see. If we scroll through all these really quick, is there another team that had 7 or so wins that we didn't have in the mix? Boston College? Do we have them anywhere? Yes, we do. Okay. There's Boston College. Cal. Cincinnati? Am I going to like go through every one of these and find like, oh yeah, we did put them in. Yeah, Cincinnati. As soon as I clicked off it, I thought too, like we did do Cincinnati. I think we have all of the bowl qualified teams represented. So that just might be an odd case where we have one 6-6 team that's kind of playing a... Now, Maryland. I don't think I've seen Maryland in here at all. Right? So that's one change we can make. There's no Maryland, just to confirm. I don't see Maryland anywhere. We can do Maryland and Minnesota in the Outback Bowl. And say sorry to Memphis. I just do one quick last roll. What about the Tar Heels? Are they anywhere in there? They're at 7-5. Let me look at the bowl games real quick on the game just to make sure. Oh, there's North Carolina right there against Miami of Ohio. But no, I'm doing a quick scroll through. Bear with me. I'm not seeing any Maryland anywhere. And they got 7 wins. So that might be who we boot out. The rest of these teams are all in there. Pitt, I don't think we have Pitt either. Everyone else is there. Okay. So, yeah, we'll put Maryland in at 7-5. So Maryland, and now they're not in the same conference, I don't think, in this world. We'll do a quick conference check here. I think I moved Maryland to either the Big East or the ACC. I know in real life they're in the Big Ten. Maybe that's why. Maybe just the way some of the conference affiliations. Yeah, Maryland is in the Big East. So, yeah, so Maryland, Minnesota, going all the way down to Tampa for that game there. Peach Bowl, Cotton Bowl. Birmingham Bowl, yeah, that's fine. Colorado and South Carolina, a couple of big conference 6-6 teams going at it. And then the Lending Tree Bowl, that one is in Mobile. And that's Kent State, who is the champions of the MAC conference, going up against the runners-up of the ACC. So that's a pretty big matchup for Mobile in that bowl game there to get that. For Kent State, I don't think there's any game really much closer to them unless we wanted to switch this out with the Motor City Bowl, which would be this one here. That would be like my only difference to get Kent State as having a conference win to maybe get them a little closer to... But they just played the MAC championship in that stadium, so maybe they want to see a different stadium. But other than the Quick Lane Bowl, there's not really any other northern bowl games that they could find themselves in. So, all right, I think I'm set with that. I think I'm happy and I am good with that list. So we are going to hit save. Dynasty has been saved, and we will load it back up. So with that being all said and done, that is going to do it for part 1. SK Money, you just now chatted? Okay, we're wrapping up the first part here, the college football bowl selection show is all set. What we're going to do is we are going to stop this episode. We're going to keep streaming on Twitch, but we're going to switch over now to WWE 2K, and we're going to do Kevin Owens. And again, it's not going to be gameplay because we're going to be setting up our universe mode stuff, but we're going to make our big changes to WWE. So give me a moment. We're going to switch that game out, and we'll be back with WWE 2K in just a moment. So stay with us.